Hello, everybody, welcome. Close a psych investigator, hello, everybody, close a psych investigator. So, today is April, the 1st, April Fool's Day, but I'm not very good at lying, so it is what it is. Oh, do I look a little stained here, but it's okay. Maybe I made a mistake, maybe over a mistake. Let's see, but I'm not, guys, right now, I don't have the time to. Please forgive this. There's a new term nowadays. It's called blush blindness. It's okay. It's okay. So, but let's just get it over with. Okay. All right. No, really. I know you know how I am. Then I start to like picking my face or something. That's all right. So, okay. So let's do protection right away. I'd like to ask for protection. A beautiful ray of light coming on top of my head as I breathe in. I feel my lungs as I breathe out. I create a circle. Create a circle. I step into it. I step into it. I feel protected. I feel connected. I'd like to ask that information come only from the highest sources that create the good and only the good, and so it is. Okay, so let's start. Okay, so first I'm going to address some of the comments from yesterday's video, the video of March 31st. And so this first comment from Joanna Johnson was about Musk leaving. So I had talked about one article where it was stated or that it mentioned Musk leaving in May, something he said in an interview with Fox News. And many, many comments said that the reason for that was that there's 130 days or something like that. Otherwise, you would have to get congressional approval and such. I wanted to say just to bring it up that pretty much everything he's done is illegal. So it's not that it couldn't be the excuse for it, but I just highly doubt that that's the reason really why I feel like this is a convenient excuse because they don't really follow rules, right? You know what I'm saying? Like I don't think they care about the law because pretty much everything he has done in the government is illegal. But it's likely, but I feel like it's more something that Trump used as an excuse to Elon Musk then it is something legitimate, right? Because pretty much everything this administration is doing is against the law, right? So it's not as if they care. There's something else to this story, okay? So let me just double check here. So is this the reason that he's because apparently it's 100 days or 130 days that he can act without needing congressional approval? Is this yes? Saying what is the real reason that he's leaving in May? That's why they're saying, Elon, you have to go. You can't. That's right. I kind of feel like this is Trump is really pushing him out, is what I'm understanding. The other question I have is whether he will in fact leave in May and whether he will be working. Let's say that he's not quote unquote doing anything directly in the government like he is now. But could he be directing somebody? Could he does it make sense? This is a question. So even if he does leave in May, as it looks like he will he continue to exert influence and direct policy in a way or another? So I see him trying to call people, but he doesn't get through. And I see that the people he hired, I see also that as he tries to call these people, they're not there anymore. And it comes as a surprise to him. When he leaves, those people are still in place, but then a little while later, they're not. When he tries to call them, they're not. So okay, so he is asked, he's pushed out. Now, the other question I have here related to this is this DOGE department going to continue? Those people that have access to all the data. Because even if he is not, is DOGE going to continue or what? Are those people going to stay in the government? I get the impression that they're listed under like the directories, but I'm not even sure they're paid by the government. So they could be technically working as quote unquote consultants because they're stealing data essentially, right? And they're so oh my God. Oh, I got some let me see here something like a little dark in there. Stop touching your face, girl. All right, so girl, it's your face. So what I was getting before I put my finger inside my eye was that they said, Rosie, everything those Doge people have done is unlawful and unconstitutional. So technically, everything they have done can be undone. Now, the other part of the, but then this brings up another question, right? Which is, I can't, it's like, it makes me nervous just to ask this question. Is is the harm they have done, can it be, does it make sense? Like they have taken all this data. Does it make sense? It's sort of like they've taken all this data, right? And like, who is to say that they haven't already, like, does it make sense that they could have stolen this data and this could harm the government from afar, or that they would continue to harm the government somehow from within? Yeah, I still, it's interesting. Thank God it gives me the image I had yesterday of this truck that they were trying to ram this truck into the wall. It is of the Social Security and of Treasury, and they're not getting in. And I see that they try to hack in or change something and it doesn't work. Why doesn't it work? Because they don't have access. They can't change it. It's not how it is. It's something, it's like they want to transfer. Okay, don't, what I'm going to say this, guys, don't despair. It's just, I'm talking about something that you want to do because I know it's so sensitive what I'm going to say, but it's not going to happen. I'm saying this is what they will try or they have tried. They keep pushing to try to transfer the monies from Social Security into some other random, I don't know, random, whatever it is, doesn't matter. It's not their money, right? They're basically stealing. They want to reroute the money into something else. That's theft, massive theft. And they were told this is what it is. And so I don't think they will be able to do this. Okay, then that's what their agenda was, to end Social Security, really, and to essentially to steal. I think it's more about stealing the Social Security funds, but I don't think they succeed. Okay, so will they try? How long will they keep trying it? They will try until third week of April, and then it's over. That's what I get. Okay, so this is it. All right, so okay. And then so this is that. Now the second comment that I would like to talk about is this one. Fallon Leon and his 19-year-old hackers already hacked illegally all the US Treasury data and Social Security data to feed into Leon's database AI Grok to fetch him next $1 trillion and control every agencies. And okay, so my question is, this is true. I think they got a lot of data. I don't know if they got 100% of the data, but they got tons that they stole. Guys, normally those people would be in jail for decades for doing something. Like, remember, Reality Winner got one document. She got 5 years, but the document that she got was stating that Russians had penetrated into our voting systems in 2016, I think it was. So so then you see, okay. But the question, let me go back to the question. The question is, what are they going to do with this data? Oh, they're going to give it to Russia. Oh my God. What is it? Tell me. It's so interesting. It goes back to the video I showed you guys yesterday. Remember when Elon Musk was so angry at Tim Walz, of all people, that Tim Walz has said something bad about Tesla. what it suggests here to me is that Elon Musk has this view that people are not real people, or that whatever we think, whatever we do, whatever our lives are, is completely irrelevant. It's like we're just things. We're almost like, a cookie or whatever. I don't know what, but that we're supposed to have zero agency and zero control over our lives. That's how they see it. So he thinks it's not perfectly natural that he should have access to everything and he should do whatever he wants to people, right? Because he is the only truly gifted person in the world. Everybody else is just a tool for him. Tools and dumb people or so forth. He's a sociopath, right? So that's why he thinks like this. So he wants to, that's right. He thinks he's entitled to all of this. But I feel like he will be tried for this, stealing Americans' data, and also I think they're gonna have in the end it will be good, it will be better for us, because better for us meaning we're gonna have to rebuild a stronger system. But there was a massive breach, yes. Those people are going to be held liable, yes. And I think they will be tried for this. And not just Elon Musk, but those people who worked in these government systems. Because it's a bit like, okay, let's say that you're part of essentially a hacker group, and then they said, well, it's okay, we can go into the US government and do whatever we want, because why? Because we said so. It's not it's not right, don't you think? It's very messed up, but that's what it is. So I guess I hope this is clear, but just to be clear, even more clear, just to confirm with me here, are you saying that they will not be able to harm us further? Like if they have all this data they already have, are they going to be able to use it to harm us? You're saying this is stolen information, like we said. I don't feel like they'll be able to do. They have their agenda, but I don't think they will be able to do it. But what I feel like they want to do is not just to have the data, but to have act as a legal, like to essentially to take whatever money we may or may not have. And does it make sense? This is the problem. It's not just having the data, but using it. Not just, I don't think it's necessarily to feed his AI thing. It's to do whatever. It's like to create a massive scam system that he could like transfer. I think he's like, we're gonna duplicate these accounts and we're gonna transfer all the money into them, to the fake accounts, and then we're gonna have ownership of the fake accounts. Does it make sense? And then say that, oh, somebody, you know how they do it in cryptocurrency constantly. Oh, no, no, a hacker did it. And sometimes it's true that a hacker did it. Other times their companies will steal the money and claim it was a hacker. This is how criminal that space is. So does it make sense? So this is it. But I feel like it's not going to last forever, and I don't think they will be able to take people's money, which is what they want to. Okay, so that's the end here for this part. Okay. So here we have White House says signal controversy is closed. So remember how, by the way, guys, if you haven't watched the video of March 31st, that's that right? That's the March 31st. No, the March 31st yesterday, 30th. It's the video where I discuss a memo that was published on someone's Substack about a theory this person has about how the whole Jeffrey Goldberg access to the texts, the signal texts happened, and how this person believes that with his experiences in intelligence that this was not a coincidence, and that both the Pentagon exposing the meeting of Musk and also the signal chats being exposed, that was also not a coincidence. This person believes there's a conspiracy. There's a conspiracy. There is what he calls Deep Throat 2.0. Deep Throat was the person who revealed the wrongdoings of Nixon, Richard Nixon. Okay, so the news today is new White House says signal controversy is closed. So they didn't want to know. Isn't that interesting? I find it interesting. They don't want to talk about it anymore. Oh, nothing to see here, right? Okay, here's so Carolyn Levitt This case has been closed here at the White House, as far as we are concerned, Press Secretary Carolyn Leavitt told reporters. There have been steps taken to ensure that something like that can obviously never happen again moving forward, and the president, Mike Waltz, and his entire national security team have been working together very well. If you look at how much safer the United States of America is because of the leadership of this team, she said. So it's interesting. Oh, am I not sharing? I'm not sharing. That's about that. My bad. Okay, here it is. Just to show you. Okay. White House says signal controversy is closed, right? So this is that. All right. But let's just quickly look why what is going on with this? Are they still chatting on Signal? What the hell's going on? They're avoiding. I see that it's a policy of the administration to do this way, to grant access to shady folks from other countries, right? But I feel like they're all kind of paranoid for the right reasons, right? They feel like there's somebody watching, and there is, and they're careful now. They're a little like they kind of don't know what to do because they're working for a foreign government, basically. Okay. All right. Okay. So let's go to next. So again, continuing on this story of the Doge closure, we thought, said that Elon Musk was going to leave in May, but then yesterday he did talk about it. Trump suggests Elon Musk's Doge could be shut down long before its expected closing date. Here it is. The Department of Government Efficiency may end after only 130 days, well before its original schedule, as Musk's work at DOGE has become increasingly unpopular among some of the president's constituents. There will be a point at which the secretaries will be able to do this work and do it, as we say, with a scalpel, Trump told reporters on Monday. President Donald Trump may already be looking to pull the plug on Elon Musk's controversial DOGE project just 2 months into the administration. The president has had to defend DOGE cuts affecting voters in some Republican strongholds, while simultaneously lobbying for steep tariff hikes, proposals that have dragged the stock market into the red and fueled recession fears. Okay. Oh, here it is. The world's richest man is currently classified as special government employee and is limited to working no longer than 130 days out of the entire year. This distinction is important because SGEs benefit from laxer ethics and compliance rules than regular government employees. If Trump uses Musk's impending departure to pull the plug on DOGE entirely, it would bring the project to an end long before the envisioned cutoff date, July 4th, 2026, when the country celebrates its 250th Independence Day, just before the 2026 midterm election campaigning begins in earnest. Okay. Okay. So again, just to confirm, I know it's a little repetitive here, but I feel like I need to address this as it comes out. So tell me, so is Trump going to eliminate DOGE as Elon Musk departs or not? I see by the way, guys, I don't know. I've got a little bit confused myself here because there was an article I think I thought I discussed, which was about, I think, the Department of Interior. Is that right? Or there was another one about uh the Doge employees not having access to the Department of Interior. And so on that, what I had seen is that Elon Musk goes and then he believes that Doge continues, but in a few days he tries to call or can't get in touch with the people there at Doge, and they're gone without Elon Musk being told that they would be gone. So I think what I this vision here is the same, that there's a day when he leaves the government. He believes that DOGE is going to continue, but within even a week or so, all the DOGE people are let go, right? They're dismissed as well. So that's it. Okay, so that's what I got. All right. Now on to international news. So there's a lot to discuss about what's going on in the world, but this interesting piece of information came from Aaron Rupar initially, and so I haven't found this one particular speech, but I'm quoting here: Putin on Greenland. It would be a great mistake to believe that this is just some eccentric talk of the new American administration. Nothing of the kind, in fact. Let me remind you that by 1869, the American papers laughed at the purchase of Alaska. The deal was called a folly. And so then, let's see, I have 1 second. I have something else to show. This is from an ambassador. Putin wants to retake the Russian Soviet Empire in Europe, including effective control over Ukraine, Moldova, and the Baltics. When with Poland and other countries of the former Soviet bloc returned to a gray zone of insecurity, existing Russian demands make this apparent. Okay. What is interesting here, this is Witkoff, the shady guy who is the envoy for Trump on all these negotiations. What is remarkable is that he's giving an interview on Fox News, essentially talking about Russia's demands, as if he's a spokesperson for Russia, right? He's saying, oh, but this is what Putin wants, right? And who cares what he wants? It's none of our right. But this is a person who's presumably paid by American taxpayers who's now spewing, oh, this is what Putin wants, right? So, and this is the guy who was in Russia in the Signal chat, right? So he's compromised, obviously. Oh my God. Okay. So the bottom line is this: what I like to know is whether this is a big picture question that I think is important to ask, just to be sure. I don't think it's going to happen, but let's just ask here first: are Putin's goals having control over Ukraine, Moldova, and the Baltics, and then putting Poland and other countries of the former Soviet bloc under their influence? Saying yes, and they're screaming, yes, Rosie, of course, look at what he's doing. It's not what he says, it's what he does, and what he does is very consistent, and he's definitely doing that. Okay. Now, the next question is Putin going to be able to achieve his goal of having effective control over Ukraine, Moldova, and the Baltics? Today is April 1st. It's April 1st day. I wish, well, this is true. It's all true. Okay, so is Putin going to be able to have control over Ukraine, Moldova, and the Baltics by the end of this year, let's say, or and then that's year by year, by the end of this year? No, they're like, ha ha ha. And it shows me Putin vomiting, but the vomiting means that he's going to have to vomit out whatever he took. And by that I mean that whatever he took of Ukraine, he's going to have to like cough it out. And so I would say, that he actually achieved a lot in the last decade in terms of installing puppets, for example, in Serbia and countries like that. But he's going to lose a lot because Europe has changed their tune and they were not expecting it. So no, I don't feel like, I think the countries are going to come together against Russia, and I don't know that he even survives until the end of the year. So, okay. So that's that. But yes, that's the goal, because they want all these. It's interesting. Fascists are always about looking backwards, and he wants to restore the Soviet Union. Essentially, is what he wants, except that it's no longer communist but more kleptocratic, right? So, all right. So then now let's. I have another question about this. Why is this Witkoff person? Let's just play for a little bit, okay?
You seem convinced that he doesn't want to expand the territory beyond what he's taken now. I know there's going to be a conversation about how much of that Ukraine does or doesn't get back. But you're convinced that he's not going to go further or have aspirations towards Europe. Obviously, they're concerned about that being much closer to this geographically. But 2014, we had Crimea. That hasn't come back. Why? And he's gone far beyond that in this most recent attack on Ukraine. So why are you convinced that he won't press further if he's given some reward or some territory this time around?
That's a good question, by the way.
Look, he's been at war for several years. It's in large part been about those five regions, and it's in his speeches. It's there's a view within the country of Russia that these are Russian territories, that there are referendums within these territories that justify these actions. This is not me taking sides. I'm just identifying what the issues are. I've never seen a conflict that can be resolved without level setting the facts, and we're level setting the facts. Now, I've been asked my opinion, so about what President Putin's motives are on a larger scale, and I simply have said that I just don't see that he wants to take all of Europe. This is a much different situation than it was in World War II. In World War II, there was no NATO. So you have countries that are armed there. To me, it just does. I take him at his word in this sense. So, and I think the Europeans are beginning to come to that belief too. But it sort of doesn't matter. That's an academic issue. The real issue here, the agenda set forth by President Trump, he is my boss, and I adhere to that fact. The agenda is stop the killing, stop the carnage.
Okay.
Let's.
All right. So I'm surprised at the depth of the question by the host, the Fox host. But I find it interesting. Interesting. No, I find it interesting. Just the whole thing is just so absurd, right? That we are taking this, and the fact that he said, "Oh, World War II was different." Like, in other words, he's admitting that what Putin is doing is a Hitler-like move, right? It's like, wow, dude, I don't know what to say to you. You're just so hopeless and trashy. So, okay, so let's move to the next one. Let's move to the next. Sad for her. I'm not sad, huh? For her. Sad for her. Sad for her. Something. My glasses fell. Okay, so guys, Marine Le Pen, the French, what's her name? Far right leader, has been found guilty. Here it is. French far right leader Marine Le Pen predicted for months that judges would not dare to ban her from running for office if she was convicted for embezzling EU funds. On Monday, they did just that. Oh yeah, oh yeah, they did. They did. They did. They did. A criminal court in Paris handed down the most severe sentence possible to the three-time presidential candidate. An immediate 5-year ban on standing for office, a 4-year prison sentence, and a €100,000 fine. We need to import these judges. I agree. I think they should take over Supreme Court over here. Yeah, I like it. I like it. Oh, of course, I know that they're following French law. American law is different, but really, it's nice to see a country putting people in jail for committing crimes. It's refreshing. I find interesting. So the prohibition was dreaded by Le Pen and her Rassemblement National Party, since it will very likely prevent her from contesting the 2027 presidential election, although she has said she will appeal against the decision. So that's right. The ban is the key issue for Le Pen's political career, rather than the prison sentence or the fine, because under the French legal system, a person is considered innocent until all their appeals are exhausted. 2 years of the sentence could be served under surveillance wearing an ankle bracelet, while the 2 further years are suspended. Had the ban not applied straight away, Le Pen could have pressed on, hoping the appeal would either go in her favor or be decided after the 2027 election. If she won that vote, she would secure legal immunity for the duration of the presidential term. So apparently she was hurt when the verdict was read. And she took a lot of money from Putin also, we know that. So she stole, I mean, sad thought ahead. And apparently, I'm not gonna go check on it. But Elon Musk was mad when he saw this because how dare she not be able? She's supposed to be able to commit crimes, whatever she wants to do. And then we saw again. I don't know exactly. This is Dmitry Peskov. This is a spokesperson for Putin, and this is a very trustworthy account. Moscow claims that France violated democratic values with Le Pen's conviction. Really? Oh, she's such a great person, isn't she? And so I find it interesting. So I wanted to also mention there's a really interesting scandal in France. There was a documentary made by Netflix about it. So there was a left candidate, I think Dominic something, I forgot his name, but he was caught. He had an affair with a woman, a maid in a hotel or something. She accused him of rape. But the whole documentary suggested that he could have been framed, and then Sarkozy, who's on the right, was behind it. I feel like there may be some truth to it. I don't know exactly, but I find it interesting that now they caught somebody on the right for actual crimes, right? For real. I'm not saying that. Does it make sense? It was just, I mean, obviously, if it were true, the rape accusations and such, it's a horrible, horrible thing, of course. But does it make sense in a way? It's like this sexual stuff was kind of used against the other. The other guy was an a-hole also. By the way, French men are not. I don't recommend in general, but really, it's just kind of interesting that these are financial crimes, and it tells me, Rosie, they could have gone after her Russian money. They didn't. I feel like so there's a lot more that she has done, and they haven't gone after. And so this is that's right. She's a criminal, and she's a collaborator. By the way, I believe if I'm correct, I remember her dad was involved. I think he was involved with the Vichy government. Let me just actually so that's right, because that would make sense if that okay. That's right. That's right. That's right. Mm-hmm. That's right. So as we know, guys, those governments, right? Okay, so let's see actually. It doesn't say, okay. It doesn't say here actually. But basically, here is Francis Jean-Marie Le Pen defends Vichy leader in memoir. So so Vichy were the leaders. The Vichy regime was the puppet people who were in power, quote unquote, in France when the Nazis were occupiers, and it was obviously very violent. And how they did horrible things in France, but those people are like, "Oh yeah, sure, come along, let's be friends or whatever." So they were never obviously forgiven. But this is her dad. This is where she comes from. Treason is her thing, in other words, right? So Pétain was the name. That's right. France's wartime leader pretended not to dishonor himself by signing the 1940 armistice that allowed Nazi forces to occupy the north of the country. Jean-Marie Le Pen says in his memoirs. Because so that's right. He was the founder of the National Front, which is their party. See, this is a thing. It's so gross, those people. Pétain was legal and legitimate. The co-founder of the National Front Party says fils de la nation, the son of the nation. This is the thing I don't get about these people. They're such traitors. They are such traitors. Okay, all right. That's right. Mm-hmm. Pétain passed legislation that saw Jews, 150,000, subject to severe discrimination similar to that in the Nazi-occupied North. That's right. So, and this is interesting here. I'm all in for discussing the policy of collaboration. So the term collaboration, collaborateur. So in French, this has the way that it's used. It's not like we think in business terms. Oh, collaborate. Let's collaborate. No, it's when you collaborate with the enemy, but essentially treason. So when he says here, when it's translated as collaboration, it means collaborating with the occupier. And this is the discourse here is like, but we have to to examine both sides, right? This is the garbage that this woman comes from, right? It's all about treason. I think her dad is about excusing treason, right? And so is she. So, right? It's like, oh yeah, sure, Putin's great, Putin's great. Huh. They were financing her, so sad for her, sad for them. But let me see here what's going to happen. What's the future of? Wait, was I sharing, guys? I feel bad. Am I not sharing? I hope I am sharing. It's so wrong. I keep talking here. I'm sorry. Make sure I have to make a note here. So let's see what's going to happen. That's right. No, she's shamed, and more is going to come out about her in the future. This is just the beginning. Okay, so all right. So let me pause and get to the next. Okay, so this is something I wanted to discuss. I meant to discuss yesterday, but didn't get a chance. And since I am now discussing foreign issues, this comment by Trump, I just never believe anything Trump says. Okay. He says, Donald Trump says he's very angry with Vladimir Putin over Ukraine. The US president says his Russian counterparts' questioning of Zelensky's credibility could delay ceasefire. Um, hmm, hmm. What's the deal with him making this statement? That's right. That Putin was laughing because, of course, for a long time and for the last, I don't know, few weeks or so, they were making this joke. It was this kind of a mockery of Zelensky, NATO, and all that, and us claiming that, oh, we want peace, we want to stop the ceasefire. I'm sorry, we want to stop the war, blah blah blah. And it got to the point where when Russia had to make concessions, they obviously don't want. So what they meant by peace was that they wanted to force Zelensky to give up on everything. He didn't. So the bluff was called. That's right. And it's saying, of course, he knows that I'm getting here that Putin has all the dirt, can control him, but he has to look like he's a tough guy because now the administration looks ridiculous, right? That they were basically carrying the water for Putin, and Putin has no interest in an actual ceasefire. He just wants Ukraine to capitulate and give up on everything, and they were not going to do that. So it puts Trump in a somewhat awkward position, but we know he's a traitor, so it's not a shocker. But let me just see what's going on with Zelensky. What's happening with the war? I feel like, okay, interesting. Russia is pushing behind the scenes Trump and his people. They're saying, wow, I see Putin telling him, you know what the deal really is, right? My Trump is that you're going to send the American military to support us. You're going to switch sides, right? You know the deal is. This is what we really want. This is why we put you in power, so that you can actually give us the power of the American military to fight our cause, right? So that's it. And I think, again, I still see that the way out of the situation is the American military removing Trump, because really, right? I don't know how could you be more of a traitor? Okay, and actually, you know what? I'm thinking I need to ask this question. I had mentioned Pétain before, who is the Vichy president during the Nazi occupation in France. I want to ask this question. What is the difference between Pétain and Trump? How far is Trump going to go relative to Pétain? He's like, I see Trump like, oh, Putin, I would do anything for you. I would absolutely do anything for you. I'll never say no to you. But the difference is, of course, there's a territorial difference. Russia can come and cross the water to be here. and also that there's a military that's not going to allow this to happen. So that's the difference. Okay. And the situation in the World War II is different, right? There were, as Witkoff said, there was no NATO then. Okay. So, all right. Oh, since we're talking about this, just want to ask this question. Is Trump going to leave NATO? He may try to, but I don't think he will have the time to do it. I think NATO is trying to do without the US for sure, and definitely the EU. But I don't know that he will be able to do it like that, just like that. Okay. All right. So let's see. I think if there's anything else. Okay. Just the last, okay, this is kind of an important part too here. Okay, and then this is the last subject for today. Russia formally declared national security threat to Britain. Russian agents working on behalf of Putin will be forced to register their activities or face 5 years in jail. Oh, look, it's kind of amazing, refreshing when somebody does something, right? It's all action. Okay. Oh. Mm. 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 Oh, there's a blog here. I need to hold a second. So I put that article through the archive dot I think it's called PH or something like that, but it takes a while. So I found another one to just continue with the information. Okay, so measures against threat from Russia to be elevated to highest level minister. Russia will be placed on the top level of a government scheme aimed at protecting the UK from malign foreign influence, the Security Minister Dan Jarvis has announced. The state will be added to the enhanced tier of the forthcoming Foreign Influence Registration Scheme, first, a status reserved for nations that pose a risk to the safety of the UK's interests. It means anyone who is directed by Russia to carry out activities in the UK must declare it or face 5 years in prison. So remember how we had the FARA Act, Foreign Agents Registration Act, and that was paused, I think, by the current administration. That's the law that the U.S. has rarely used in the recent past to go after essentially agents of foreign countries. Okay, so let's see, because clearly there are so many people who are getting money from whatever, right? So let's see here. Here we only have the headline, but the headline is good. It's very good here. Okay. So what is going to happen going forward? Yes, there is a MI6 is moving forward and moving fast. Okay. That's right. It's saying it's going to be harder. It's saying that it's showing me something that I had seen before, which is that I saw that oligarchs celebrating, right? They were celebrating Trump winning and all these things that they're doing, trying to remove the sanctions. But over time, it will be much worse. Like they are celebrating for a bit for now, but they're not going to get away with it, and it's actually going to get worse in a few months, I think, right? Or as soon as Trump is out. So, okay. All right. So that's it, guys. It still is I see here the article is still kind of, it takes a while for this website, by the way. So if you ever have an article you want to read and it's under a paywall, you grab the link and post it on archive.is, but it sometimes takes a while. So anyway, so this is it. This is it for today. Thanks for watching, and I'll talk to you very soon. Bye. Bye.